Waiting on God is hard. Not because you doubt His ability, not even because you don't believe He'll come through, but because it's not happening yet. And when you're doing all the right things, praying, believing, holding on, yet nothing seems to move, it can feel like your faith is being stretched to its limit. But here's the beautiful truth. Just because you don't see God working doesn't mean He isn't. And just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. So how do you stay positive and faithful when you know the Lord will help you? But it's in the Lord's own time? Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. This isn't just a beautiful memory verse. It's a challenge. To trust with all your heart means holding nothing back, not your timeline, not your control, not your fears. And then it says, lean not unto thine own understanding. That's hard, because our understanding is what feels safe. It's the voice in our head trying to connect the dots, fix the problem, or figure out what's next. But God is asking us to stop depending on our limited vision and instead lean fully on His wisdom, which sees the whole picture. Your understanding might be shaped by your past. His understanding is shaped by His purpose. Your view may be clouded by pain. His view is grounded in promise. Then the verse says, in all thy ways acknowledge Him. Not just the big life-altering moments, but the small ordinary ones too. When we recognize Him in the waiting, the confusion, the questions, that's when we begin to walk in peace. Here's the promise. He shall direct thy paths. He doesn't just watch your path. He guides it. He lights it up. He leads you forward step by step, even when you can't see more than 1 foot ahead. So today the question isn't whether God is guiding. The question is, will I trust Him enough to follow? Ask yourself, can I release my timeline in exchange for God's path? Not because I understand it, but because I trust the one who sees the end from the beginning. 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. This verse is simple, but profound. It speaks directly to the tension we feel when we want to understand everything before we take the next step. We walk by faith, not because we have it all figured out, but because we trust the one who does. Faith isn't passive. It's not sitting still waiting for the map to be clear. It's movement. It's obedience even when the destination is still foggy. Not by sight, meaning we don't rely solely on what we can see, explain, or control. In fact, the life of faith is often marked by walking through the unknown. But just because we can't see the whole road doesn't mean the road isn't leading somewhere good. Sometimes God only gives us enough light for the very next step, not the whole staircase. But that's still enough to move forward. Not recklessly, but faithfully. If you're waiting for perfect clarity before you act, you may be missing the invitation to trust. Because walking by faith means trusting God more than your own ability to predict, plan, or perfect the outcome. What's one small step God is asking you to take, even though you can't see how it all works out? Take that step. He'll meet you there. Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This verse reminds us that God is not just aware of our struggles, He is actively involved in them. A refuge is a place you run to when everything else feels unsafe. God invites us to run to Him, not just when we're out of options, but as our first response. He is our shelter, our safe place, and our constant. He is also our strength, not just in the moments when we feel powerful, but in the moments when we feel completely weak. His strength fills the gaps where ours runs out. And then it says, a very present help in trouble. That phrase in Hebrew means abundantly available. God isn't distant. He doesn't delay because he's unaware. He is already near, already involved, already moving. So when trouble comes, when anxiety hits, when plans fall apart, when waiting feels unbearable, remember, God is not only near, he is strong, and he is your place of peace. Call out to him, lean on him, let him be your refuge. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, to give you an expected end. This verse was spoken to a people still in exile, confused, disoriented, and discouraged. They were living in a season where God's promises felt distant, and yet, God speaks a word of hope into that exact moment. I know the thoughts that I think toward you. God is not making things up as he goes. His thoughts toward you are intentional, kind, and full of purpose. The people couldn't see the end of their exile, but God could. And he wasn't just thinking about escape. He was thinking about a full restoration, to give you an expected end. That phrase speaks of completion, not just survival, but fulfillment. God already sees the outcome, and it's one filled with purpose and goodness. This verse is a reminder that even in the middle of what feels like silence or delay, God is thinking about you. He hasn't forgotten. He's not confused about your path. He's preparing the next chapter, even when you're still in the middle of the current one. So when you don't know what's next, cling to what is true. God is already in your future, writing goodness into your story. Psalm 94:19. In the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. This verse paints a picture of what many of us live every day, a racing mind. Thoughts crowding in, swirling with worry, regret, and what-ifs. The psalmist doesn't hide from that reality. He names it, a multitude of thoughts within me. And yet, in the middle of that noise, God's comfort arrives. Not just to settle the thoughts, but to delight the soul. That means God's comfort doesn't merely calm your mind, it lifts your spirit. It brings joy back into dry places. It speaks peace deeper than logic can reach. When your head is full of racing thoughts and your heart feels heavy, this verse invites you to slow down and let God in. Not with forced silence, but with honest surrender. Invite him into your mental storm. Ask for comfort that goes beyond explanation, the kind that brings soul-deep delight. Psalm 23:4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. This verse speaks to the reality that faith doesn't mean we avoid the valley. It means we are never alone in it. The valley of the shadow of death isn't just about physical danger. It's any place in life where fear, loss, or uncertainty feels overwhelming. It's the emotional, mental, or spiritual low points that cast long shadows over our hearts. But even there, even in the valley, God is with you, not watching from above, not waiting on the other side. He walks with you step by step, breath by breath. And that's why we don't have to fear, not because the valley isn't real, but because his presence is greater than the fear. His light breaks through shadows. His rod and staff, symbols of guidance and protection, remind us we are never abandoned. So if you feel like you're in the middle of a valley, remember this: you're not setting up camp there. You're walking through it, and you're not walking alone. If this is speaking to your heart today, type in the comments, "I'm trusting God's timing." Let it be a declaration of your faith. Abraham and Isaac, Genesis 22. Let's talk about Abraham, a man of deep faith who was tested in the most unimaginable way. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac, the very promise he had waited decades to receive. There were no explanations, no assurances, just a simple call to obey. Imagine the weight of that journey. Every step up the mountain a step deeper into surrender. And yet, Abraham trusted that God's character was greater than the circumstance. He told his servants, "We will go and worship, and we will come again to you." Even before he saw the provision, he believed in the provider. When Isaac asked, "Where is the lamb for the offering?" Abraham responded with quiet, powerful faith. God will provide himself a lamb. And when they reached the top, at the very last moment, God stopped him and provided a ram caught in the thicket. The test became a testimony. This story reminds us, God's provision often meets us at the peak of obedience. So what is the mountain God is asking you to climb in faith? What promise are you still holding on to, even when you can't yet see the outcome? Keep walking, keep trusting, because just like Abraham discovered, what God provides is always better than what we imagine.
Let's start our breathing reflection with the 4-7-8 method. Inhale to the count of 4 while saying in your mind, "Be still and know." Hold for 7 while saying in your mind, "God is in control." Exhale for 8 while saying in your mind that I am God. Breathe again. Remember to let peace take the place of pressure. Make this breathing practice become part of your daily spiritual rhythm, not just a calming tool, but a consistent way to recenter your trust in God throughout your day. Inhale to the count of 4. Be still and know. Hold for 7. God is in control. Exhale 4. That I am God. Now we've heard the word, the promises, and the stories of trust. But how do we actually live this out while we wait? 1. Speak it daily. Say first thing in the morning, "I release my timeline, Lord. I trust yours." 2. Write your not yet list. List what you're still praying for. Pray over each one. "Lord, I trust you to move in your time." 3. Rehearse your rescue history. Write down past answered prayers or moments of provision. Let those memories fuel your faith. 4. Breathe with intention. When stress builds, do 4-7-8 breathing throughout the day. Let trust quiet your thoughts. 5. Choose joy while you wait. Don't put your life on hold. Worship, walk, create, smile. Joy honors God in the waiting too. 6. Replace "when God" with "I trust you." Surrender the outcome. Keep trusting His heart. Let's end in prayer. Father, thank you for being trustworthy, even when I can't see what you're doing. I surrender my timeline, my questions, my expectations. Help me to walk in peace and joy while I wait. Give me grace to trust you more than I trust my own understanding. You are always working, and I will wait for you in faith. In Jesus' name, amen. If this devotional helped you today, subscribe, share it, and comment below. Let us know. What are you trusting God for in this season? Until next time, let's keep walking in faith, together, one step at a time, with God leading the way.